Hello everyone, how are you going out there? One person's all right, how you going? You all right? What a night. It's been such an honour to be here. It's a real honour to play for you tonight. I don't know if I can do it justice, but it's an incredible night, incredible group of people. Can we give it up for all the artists and all the amateurs, all the people who've got up and shared their stories with us tonight? I had the great privilege of running some songwriting workshops over the last couple of weeks, and on Saturday, Roz was talking to us about how the rocks and the trees and the land cries out for us to remember who we are, and this is a song about that.
It's not that one? Ah, the other one.
Yeah, sorry. Rosie's going to come and join me a little later on. Well, it starts with taking land and taking lives, and it ends with locking everybody else out and living in denial. If there are any problems with all we've made down here, within our little lives, we're tracing out the shape and the sound of the wide and gaping grief of a nation that can't make peace with the people whose blood is on our hands. So you can number me with those who've decided that forgetting until you feel good hasn't worked out quite as well as we hoped it would. So hear the rivers and the seas and the biggest, brightest sky that you've ever seen cry, remember, remember who you are. Within our little lives, we're tracing out the shape and the sound of the wide and gaping grief of a nation that can't make peace with itself for the land or the people whose blood is on our hands. So you can hold on to your flag. And you can tattoo a Southern Cross across my face. If you can tell me you remember who you are, and you can tell me if the light that's coming is gonna shine upon our glory or our shame. Well, in our little lives, we're tracing out the shade and the sound of the wide and gaping grief of a nation that couldn't make peace with itself or the land. Oh, the people whose blood is on our heads. Oh, 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 oh. Jeez, thank you. So we were chatting about songwriting over the last couple of weeks, and how sometimes when you write a song, when you write it, you're not quite sure what it means, but somehow you're tuning into something that's bigger than you are. And I want to tell a quick story about many years ago. I was a part of the Arts and Health program down at Flinders Hospital, and as a part of this program, you patients who are in a ward suffering from some sort of awful sickness, they can put their hand up to have a folk musician come and play a song to them, which makes me sound like a really good person for doing it, but it's kind of like they're a captive audience. It's like, oh, you're feeling sick? Well, here's some sad folk. But this one day, I was in there and there was this beautiful old Walpurgis woman, and she'd asked for a song. And as I was going into the ward, the nurses said, well, you don't want to go and see her. She's just going to yell at you. She's been yelling at us all morning. I said, no, she's asked for a song. So I went in there and I played her a song, and expecting to be yelled at. And she turned over in her bed at the end of the song and she said, can you play another one? And I said, yeah, I will, but you know, where you're from? And she told me where she was from, the country she was from. And then she said, you know, I'm a long way from home. And I said, well, I got a song about home. And she said, well, I want a song about home because I'm going to die a long, long way from my home. Anyway, this was a song I'd written and I wasn't quite sure how it fit into my life, but at the end of the song we were both crying and we realised it fit deeply into hers. We wake up from the dream, we're free. We'll leave this place with everything we need. Nothing on our backs and nothing on our feet, and nothing on our marks but an idea and a seed. In between the door light and the tops of the tree, in between the oceans and the edge of the leaves, around the fire, well, is you and me, holding our hands in the back of our knees, singing, oh yeah, this is how we find it. Oh no, it's nothing like thought that it would be. No, this is how we find home. Oh, 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 we find home. Well, me, beautiful creatures, sipping high stout on their road. Their faces and their voices might be nothing like our own. We might not understand, but we feel it in our bones. That we're searching for the same place. We're searching for home, singing, oh yeah, this is how we find it. Oh no, it's nothing like we thought that it would be. No, this is how we find home. Home, how we find home. How we find home. Home, how we find home. When our memories are fading and our breathing is slow, take us down to where that bright river flows. We'll hear our hearts beating, we'll hear a wild wind blow. When it's cold and our name's low, it's how we'll know that, oh yeah, this is how we find it. Oh no, it's nothing like we thought that it would be. No, this is how. Oh, this is how. Oh, this is how we find home. We find home. How we find home. How we find home. Cheers, thank you. I want to tell you a true story, another true story. That one was true. I want to tell you another true story about the wide history of South Australia, because there's an important story to tell here. About 250 years ago, there was a man on the north coast of Germany who he'd heard about this colony of South Australia that was going to be started. And I don't know if any of you guys know this, but South Australia was supposed to be a utopia. It was supposed to be a place where there was not going to be any crime, there's not going to be any sickness. It was going to be a place where we were going to get things right. The white fellas were going to get things right. And the king at the time made a statement that the Aboriginal people from South Australia will be treated with care and respect, and that they'll be fully compensated for any loss of land, life or property. That was written into law. And this man in the north coast of Germany heard about this, and he'd just newly become a Christian. He's a Lutheran fella. This is back in 1830, and he said, well, I'm going to go down, I'm going to minister to the Aboriginal people, the Kaurna people in South Australia. And when he arrived in 1837, he was walking up with his friend from Glenelg, from Holdfast Bay at the time, and then he saw in the South Parklands that evidence of the same colonial brutality that had characterised this kind of invasion the world over. And then it turned out in South Australia, nothing was different to any of the other colonies. And this German fella was he was heartbroken. And so he went down to the banks of the Torrens and he sat with King Rodney, Uncle Jack, and he asked them what their story was. And this German man, newly arrived with nothing, the church forgot about him as soon as he arrived. So he has no money at all, and he says, well, what can I do? And he travels with those Ghana elders, and he learns their stories, and he learns their songlines, and he learns their language. And then a year later, he on the banks of the Torrens, he opened up a school for Ghana children to learn their own language and their own songlines in 1838 in Adelaide. I think it's worth saying again that a school was opened in 1838 for Ghana children to learn their own language and their own songlines. I read about this guy when I was studying at university, and I was really moved by this forward-thinking fella that was doing things that we're not even getting anywhere near right now in 2026. So I wrote essays about him, and I used to talk about him a lot. My friends would get sick of me talking about it. And anyway, when the Ghana language fell asleep, I think it was in the 1930s. I could be wrong about that, but it was the dictionary that this fella wrote back in the 1830s that they used to help wake the language back up again. And there's been an incredible amount of language work done in the last 30, 40, 50 years. And that's really been helped by the work of this strange German man who crossed the world to try and do some good. Anyway, it was years later, and after I'd finished my degree, and I was helping my grandmother move house, and I was going through her boxes, and I pull out this dictionary, and there's a photo from the 1890s of this man, Christian Gottlieb Takelman. And I said to my grandmother, why have you got this? And she looked at me and she said, I know who he is, and he's one of my heroes. I've got a copy of this dictionary. Why do you have this old one? And she looked at me and she said, well, he's your great-great-great-grandfather. And I tell that story not because it's about me or how great my family is, but I think that there's these ways in which the past calls us, calls to the best part of us, and I think it's I don't understand how that happens, but I think it's a beautiful story, and it was a song that basically wrote itself. It's not really a song about Christian Gottlieb Takelman. It's a song about the Ghana people who have fought for so long for their culture and their language, having borne the brunt of colonisation in this state in many ways. It's a good song for C.G. Takelman. Watch this home become a line between the ocean and the pearl sky. But that breeze was full of memories and ghosts, so he breathed it into his lungs for the last time. Before 6 months of unending horizons, 6 months of sea and salt and sun, 6 months to understand there are things that a man does that can never be undone. And he landed in the heat with his best friend on the beach, walked the long and dusty miles into town. They talked about the better world they'd make, even if they had to build it up out of the ground. When he arrived, he first smelled, then saw the horror, and wept like Adam with that apple in his hand. Here in the heart of a new world, that same strange fruit it hung above the sand. He said, all these weary eyes all that they have seen. I am laying down all I've been carrying. He went straight down to the riverbank, sat with the oldest living people on the earth. He said, teach me your language and your stories, and I promise that I'll write down every word. They said all that we have is disappearing. Young and old, they're dying in the dust. 'Cause that white man, he's a taker, and he's taken nearly everything from us. We cry, oh, our weary eyes, and all that they have seen. We are laying down, oh, we've been carrying, oh, we've been carrying. They are all long gone now. They're buried in our dreams about the past. But a handful remain who still remember the names and keep the words ever written on their hearts. They say so much water has flowed down this river. We're still waiting to begin. They treated us like we were nothing, but he treated us like kin. We cry, oh, our weary eyes, and all that they have seen. We are laying down, oh, we've been carrying. Cry, oh, our weary eyes, and all that they have seen. We're laying down, oh, we've been carrying, oh, we've been carrying. Jeez, thank you. I want to say a huge thank you to all the different people who have got up and spoken tonight. And I was really listening, and I just wanted to just sort of run back. I hope this is all right, but just to run back through like the last couple of hours that we've just had. We started with Sally talking about her broken heart for this country. Katie had this line that just, I don't know if it hit anyone else, but this line that we're still here, and that just caught me, you know. Matthew's line of we are dry scrub embers, our story starts here. Bernie, we all live under the same southern sky. The other Sally's heartfelt thank you for looking after this country, after the First Nations people. Di, who listens, saying we are all learners, we are the learners. I loved what Jade said about being softened through relationship. What Isaiah, when he said, took my pain and made it strength, and his heartfelt cry to us to be free. Courtney's nostalgic desire for home, I love that line that was through her poem. Ian talked about caring for country with careful hands. Raymond talked about taking family home. And Dennis was talking about letting the spirit out, and Amy's listening, grief, and hope. Can we just give all those people a round of applause? It's been a beautiful night. I want to welcome up Ros Cameron, who spoke at the beginning as well about her deep connection to this place. We had these songwriting workshops, and a couple of songs came out of them. So this next one is one of Ros's songs, and so give a round of applause.
Tim elevated it though.
Do you want to say anything about your song?
The song just poured out of me. I feel like the land is calling to us, and it's calling around healing. It's actually, the land cries out, and that's biblical with the blood that's been spilt, and there is healing to be had. And if we can tap into that, and the springs of water and the desert, it's all about healing. Yeah, it just flowed out of me, and then Tim just elevated it extraordinary, and I was in tears, and I'm packing my bags to go on tour with him. He's going, back off.
No, definitely.
Bite myself, nothing like it.
These are Ros's words, and it's. I just want to say, it's a real honour for me to sing the words that other people have written, and to sing this kind of thing is, yeah, it's really special to me. It's a brand new song, so just bear with me if they take a little while to come to me. I've got them written on a bit of paper down here, but it's gotten very, very soggy in the rain. Hear the land calling, calling to the wind, sounds carried by the people, calling, calling. Breath that is carried, the rustle of the sand, the stories that it carries, calling to you all. And carries memory, as old as time, rekindle the coals, rekindle the flame. Yeah, the land carries memory, memory all this time. Leave behind the pain. Sing along if you can. Louder, louder. Ros is very prolific in our songwriting workshop, and she's written another one as well. So do you want to introduce this one for us, Ros?
So there were a variety of people that came, and there were two men in particular. One was late 70s, and he spoke of his father who would employ Aboriginal people passing through on the land. And I know that's amazing, because that is before time, before you're ahead of time doing something like that, because there was a lot of horrendous things happening back in the time, and there were ration stations and all that sort of thing. And for a man to employ someone on their farm, and not just one, but many that came through, is incredible. And the other story was about some history being written just locally, and he noticed that we need to write the history of the local Aboriginal people as well. So.
It's going to be my last song. I think you've done really well to stay warm by that beautiful fire. I think Sally's going to come and say a few thanks at the end, but I want to get in and say thank you so much to Jake on the sound, fixing it when it went wrong, when the power died earlier. Huge thanks to Ros, and a huge thanks to Sally and Egon. Sally in particular has put an enormous man into this. Can we all give her a round of applause? Thanks. It's such an honour to be at an event like this, and thank you guys for listening to me. I really, really appreciate it. This song, we put it to music. I put it to music a couple of days ago. So again, it's pretty fresh, but I think it might have a sing-along bit at the end. Would you guys be open to a bit of a sing-along? It's good, all right. I think it goes like this. Bellows, breathe in, breathe out. Bellows, breathe in, breathe out. Embers in, the coals ignite. Bellows, breathe in and breathe out. Do you want to give that a go? Bellows, breathe in and breathe out. Bellows, breathe in and breathe out. Embers in, the coals ignite. Bellows, breathe in and breathe out. Awesome, you sound amazing. amazing.
So it's bellows of the fire.
And before his time, he gave the wars again. Stop and roll the pain. Never turning away. Another just not to forget. When missing in the town's gazette. History rich in time. Beyond stolen rations and land. Fire fills up our lungs. Breathe in and out. Stoking coals, long-held stories, ignited in the flame. Here we go. Bellows breathe in and breathe out. The bellows breathe in and breathe out. The embers in the coals ignite. The bellows breathe in and breathe out. Bellows breathe in, breathe out. Bellows breathe in and breathe out. Embers in the coals ignite. Bellows breathe in and breathe out. One more time. Bellows breathe in and breathe out. Bellows breathe in and breathe out. Embers in, the coals ignite. Bellows breathe in, breathe out. Thank you so much.